Let me adjust my cable a second. There we go. All right, welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, Day 74. Plex 64 sends a wave. Yeah, so no substantial updates on anything here. Still next hearing is October 6th. So today I attempted to, and partially successfully, did a recording of another video. I haven't actually done, it's been a while since I've actually done like recordings of, my desktop and stuff like that. So I did mess around today with figuring out the setup for that. It's one problem I've always had with recording on my desktop is my computer fan, the same fan that goes bad all the time and I have to replace. It spins. If I record locally on that computer, the fan spins so much that it like really messes up the audio, and it's even if I like throttle everything down. So most in the past, what I do is I'd actually just like keep the computer, try to keep it cool for a while, let it cool off, and then I'd only be able to record like for 20 minutes or something before the fan would spin up, and then I'd often have to stop and start multiple times. So and that's been a barrier toward actually producing and putting out stuff. So this time I'm actually I'll probably just use my streaming setup, which is actually kind of annoying because in OBS it was nice. Every day when I stream, I don't touch the setup at all. I just turn it on, do everything the same, and click stream, because of the windows will if I don't change anything and reopen OBS with the same windows open, then it just like everything works immediately. But if I don't do that, and if I change like if I want to record from the same input, I can't just like add a layer over or something. It just totally wrecks the whole OBS UI. So I had to like rebuild all the frames from scratch and stuff. So and unless I can figure out, there might be some way to set up profiles, but I tried that. There was a profile feature today, and it doesn't actually seem to do what I want. But oh yeah, and I had I spent a couple hours messing around with Wayland and like setting console fonts and stuff like that, because the next video is just going to be an intro to my block mining game, and I wanted to actually do a screen record of the console, but there's a whole bunch of display issues and stuff I had to work through. Hello, what you working on? Why was this recommended? What is happening here? Are we close to the end? So this is the intro of my stream, where I usually just start off the stream by mentioning what I did during the day. Most of the stream is me working on my video game, terminal-based video game. So let me go ahead and actually just start off on that now. So I'll just create a folder and then I'll clone it. So I pushed the changes from last night. So for anyone who asked what the stream's about, once this boots up, then I'll show you. you Wayland, I don't personally I don't care what they use, but I wish they would like figure out something that works. Yeah, for anyone who asked like what is this about, so during the stream I talk with chat and I write software to develop this video game, which is a terminal-based video game that you can play on the Linux command line. cool. I never knew we can make terminal games. Yeah, it's an interesting technical challenge. Yeah, honestly, there really haven't been a lot of terminal-based games. But yeah, so on that note of Wayland, I had to go into my grub config and add an extra entry for the display. I did correctly set the display resolution for the second monitor to mirror it, so I could record. So this way, when I'm recording, I'm actually recording on the other computer, and that way the fan does not spin up super loud. I'm already dominating the world. I'm G-Man. I had a professor in college who wrote a game to fit in CPU cache. It was 3D. Interesting. To fit in CPU cache. I guess depending on the CPU, I think CPU caches are probably pretty big these days. And technically, you don't have a lot of control over whether the CPU keeps it in the cache or not. But if it's small enough to fit theoretically in the cache footprint, it should be pretty fast. Whoa, the silence just got loud. Is there an issue with the audio? Anybody else have audio issue reports? Honestly, I have no clue. No audio issue for me. That's good. I had no clue what he did, nor exactly how it worked. I guess maybe on some computers there are probably instruction sets and stuff for like controlling cache behavior. Please tell me how you made it. Would love to know more. Sure. Let me catch you up on chat. Wrote it to be ran instead of an OS. Okay. Yeah, if it's bare metal. Fan was spinning up. That's the only audio thing that changed. All right, as long as there's nothing weird going on. Almost perfect audio. Could be a little more dangerous sounding. It ain't the audio. Don't know how to explain, but my silence just got loud. All right, well, whatever's going on, get it sorted out, and otherwise a lot of your chats are kind of off topic. Did do an old CPU architecture from the 90s. Used to direct the CPU instructions. Interesting. Yeah, there may be some. I can't remember in specific architectures. I think there is stuff to control cache affections and whatnot. But I guess if you know a lot about the architecture, you can probably get some like crazy performance on something that fits in the cache. I can't remember what the performance difference is, but it's probably like 100-fold, depending on which level of the cache is. Remember the game Elite? First 3D space game. Never heard of that, actually. It was silent, then it was loud. but still silent somehow. All right, that's well, whatever it is. Have fun figuring it out, but you don't need to report everything in the chat. Someone asked about more about how it works. So I guess it depends where to start. I've been working on it for a while. It's pretty generic it's got like a frame based system, so you can open up different frames and you can move between them. And I also added like you can move it to the side. So you can basically print any XY on the screen. And it used one of the keys is using ANSI escape sequences to move to a specific place on the screen. Definitely the broken fingers. Yeah, apparently there's a lot of people that hear like low frequency sounds and stuff like that. There's actually there was an interesting YouTube video I watched recently about a person that he was actually he's a pretty like one of those super like almost like polymath technical people who did a bunch of investigation into like infrasound and stuff. It was pretty interesting. Don't know what tinnitus is, but it's not tinnitus. Well, whatever it is, it's not really related to what's going on. So for the actual printing, so this here is the function that actually does the final stage of printing to terminal. So if you print out this escape sequence here, /033, and then square bracket, and then a position, and followed by H, you can move the cursor to like a specific place in the screen. So that's like how Vim works. In order to print it in a specific XY, you move to that location, then you can just print whatever string, and that's kind of a basis for pretty much all of the printing that's on the screen. One of the challenges is finding the width of characters. You know how some terminal programs have animated progress bars that update without terminal scrolling? Are those made with escape sequences? Yes, I would say almost certainly they are, because the terminal output is it's serial, so it's just a sequence of characters and bytes. And there's within the terminal, there's a parser that parses out these control sequences. I think it's called a control sequence introducer. This /033. Galactic Past says, "Hello, Robert. How's it going? The commands in red are a bit hard to see. At least for me on stream. I guess maybe the like the those aren't quite red, but these ones, you mean? Actually, no, I pay attention to it. There is something, but it's more of a house sound. Bob the War Criminal. You have to slow down on irrelevant chats because you're kind of just spamming with unrelated nonsense. I guess if the update bar is all on the lowest line, there's a chance it only uses carriage return and no escape. Yeah, if it's only if it's on the last line, it's just like sometimes you'll just see one that like it prints out like a star. It'll print out like 100 stars or something like that, just to give you the minimum amount of feedback to show that something's actually being output. But yeah, if you can move to any position on the screen, then with serial output, you can theoretically output anything. All right. So last stream, I worked on simplifying this class to use with better defaults, so that way I can remove a whole bunch of null checks. And I also did the same thing with the frame dimensions class. So I think the next thing might be to update this class. Because I can just use that cuboid data structure in here. Sometimes when I'm bored, I just make problems. That's not a very fun personality type to be around. Damn those if else. Yeah, it's just want to get something done. Actually, once I complete the changes I'm going to probably do tonight, that'll be eliminated. I guess if I kept this, there's really no other way to do it. Actually, those are public. Were they used anywhere? Let's find out. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start learning Python? I'd say it depends where you are in life, how old you are. Are you in school? Are you learning it on your own? Have you done any programming languages beforehand? And then I guess it also depends on like what kind of outcomes you want. So once you learn a bit about Python, what do you want to do with it? What version of Java you're working on? I think 21. Yep, 21. On my own, no programming languages, starting fresh. I'm old. I want to program AI. Okay, I would say in that case, probably like the thing that would get you the furthest might actually be have you ever written a Hello World program in Python? I don't know. COBOL's kind of out of style now. Someone recommended Pascal. I'd say you probably are. If you want to do AI, if you're just kind of doing it on your own for fun, Python probably actually is the most like useful place to start. Actually, like Pascal, I don't know if you want to do AI stuff. I don't even know if there'd be much AI code in Pascal, but there's tons and tons of AI packages with Python. Recommend data camp to learn from complete scratch to deep learning. Yeah, maybe there's a lot of resources out there. It's all about knowing what to Google. PowerShell 7. It's pretty good to dabble with. Brand new. Yes, on my own. Not for fun, but I want to be able to write code for robots. Okay, I would say that's the stage where it's kind of like it's hard to even know what to ask. I would say the best place to start would be if you've ever used chatbots. Using chatbots, I think, would be great for like these kinds of like situations where you don't know what to ask. I would say the first question to start with is how do I program Hello World in Python? Just do a Google search for that, because you'll have to get some kind of like software. You might even, there's probably tons of things online actually now to program Python, but eventually you can use a command line tool, or there's probably even IDEs for Python that you can use. But I would start with that, just like how to program Hello World, and then if you can successfully do that, and then challenge yourself, just like change the string to like, Hello World 1 2 3 4, and just change it, and see, you're gonna get a hang of the feedback loop, and then challenge yourself with like basic things like change your Hello World to print out the numbers 1 to 10, or start printing prime numbers or something, and then once you can actually like do basic stuff, then you can kind of start the feedback loop going. Robots will require intense math. It depends. If you there's lots of libraries and stuff like that for a lot of stuff nowadays. It depends how much you want to do it from scratch. Because like you can, with like Arduino and stuff, and with like a lot of robotics programs and stuff, you can just like basically buy a robot, and then you plug it into a Raspberry Pi, and then it just like runs itself. And there's every level. You can program the stepper motors if you want, or you can operate at kind of any level. Holy C is also another good language. Probably not a first language to learn though. Robotics is going to be C++. There's quite a bit of Python like there's a lot of Raspberry Pi Python stuff for like embedded and robotic stuff. Pascal won't put you on a list. Will Python put you on a list? Why learn anything? It's pointless at this point. Become a streamer. Well, what if everyone became a streamer? Who would watch the streamers? All day, you just have to watch other streamers all day on stream. On C++, if you're a massagist, it's a lot of work to learn C++. I haven't learned C++. Liu Hiroyama says, "Good morning. How's it going?" Thank you. I'm well versed in LLMs. I will start with Hello World. Appreciate your videos. Love the one you made, but making semiconductors. Thanks for the kind words. Hello, Robert. Just wanted to say thanks for all your videos. I've been working on learning data formatting with different tools lately. Came across your awk video. It was fun and informative. Yeah, that was a favorite for quite a few people. If you were to restart your career from scratch again, how would you go about it this time? I did talk a bit about that at the end of my how to become a 37-year-old broke loser video. In short, it's hard to say, because that hypothetical scenario of go back and do it again, I can never have that again. Most of the information that I would pass back is like you can separate it into like errors in prediction and errors in strategy, and it's not super clear to me that my strategy was bad, but there were a lot of like specific predictions about what would or would not be a good thing to bet on that were wrong. Like if I had just stayed at NVIDIA and threw away all of my salary, if I just wasted it all, gambled it away, and then just kept the stock options, I would be worth like $10 million. But then again, if I had just dropped out of high school, never went to university, and worked at McDonald's and took all my McDonald's money and put that in NVIDIA stock, I would be even better off. But I can give you a number of different scenarios that are kind of like that. Guys, hit the like button. Excellent. We got 4 likes already. Ever played with Sonic Pi? I have not. Holy C will put you on a list. Maybe a list of great programmers. Avoid AI programming if you don't like math, because AI is literally linear algebra and meets statistics. Yeah, it's to become really proficient at it, it's a lot of work. List of people that will be blessed. How much does university strain your resume, would you say? Like having a gap, you mean? Where you or like with like dropping out, with withdrawing from university? I'm not sure. I guess either those, like having a pause or dropping out. It would probably depend on like the question. Then would be like, what else have you done? Bill Gates dropped out of university because his company was becoming amazing and then I was making a lot of money. So if you dropped out for to pursue an opportunity, maybe, or like if you got employment shortly after, then that would look good. If you flunked out, I don't know, if you flunked out of if you went to like a really prestigious university and flunked out of a really difficult program, then that could still, I mean, I know some people that dropped out of university and they like started companies and stuff like that. So like today, like if you drop out and you do something with your time, then it doesn't even matter. Like there's lots of people I know who got really high marks and stuff, and nobody even knows what the marks were. It doesn't matter. Not very feasible to learn C++. It's just very large language that keeps getting bigger. That's true. Maybe a few people to keep up with the standards in an innate way, but they're writing textbooks, compilers. Even the people that do that don't even remember it. Like there was even, I think the perfect example is that there was an error in the standard where they had a piece of syntax or something and they didn't realize, but the piece of syntax could mean two different things in different contexts, and so they basically like wrote something that was impossible to satisfy in the standard. One nice thing about C is that everyone still keeps using C89 or C99. Yeah, that's because it's good enough. Guys, how are you so smart and talented that you have C++ or Rust jobs? You just gotta spend thousands and thousands of hours. Okay. So I verified that those are not being used directly. Now let's see if that works. Nope. Would use rest more if I could nicely express a graph. Adjacency matrices are a cop-out and inefficient for sparse graphs. I have a hard time with looking at TypeScript and C and C++, nested ternaries, and nested short-circuiting. Yeah, I have a bunch of that in my code. A lot of it's just like, there's a lot of bad code in this project, but I'm just like, I'll just refactor this later and replace it with something better. I have to update C++ code with a lot of goto and macro functions. Yeah, that's C code with like macros. Like having code that's wrapped in lots of macros, like especially any of the like old school GNU code. I find this just it's just like so hard to follow what's happening. It destroys the comprehensibility of the code. OOP Python sucks, but no OOP is really nice. Yeah, Python doesn't really do object-oriented very well. If you try to do it, it's really easy to have objects that are like it's hard to figure out what they're doing, what types things are. One of the files contains 500 try-catch. Nice. Java really is the gold standard for OOP. Yeah, it's I like Java. It's a decent language. I like using goto for end of function cleanups and breaking nested loops. Yeah, there are a few like a common pattern is like having go to fail. If I have some like complex state machine where you encounter an error condition, you just have to say nope, end immediately and clean up. Functional languages are really nice to work with, but once you get the hang of the concepts, clean and crisp. Arguably makes you a smarter programmer. Yeah, I agree about when I was forced to learn, I think it was Scheme, and like to think about how to do, being forced to think how can I use recursion to solve this problem. That really, I think that kind of permanently rewired my brain a bit. And I don't necessarily need to use it a lot, but there's certain cases where, like in my cuboid address class, see, I think I have yeah, anything where I have like helper functions. So instead of just solving this for the like one-dimensional case, it's now generalized. can just use the recursion. Touching Haskell soon. That was on my to-do list to learn for the longest time, but there's way too many. There's too many things to do. Life is too short. Life is too short for Haskell. Maybe, but from what I know about the language, if we all were just forced to learn Haskell, then maybe we'd be all more productive. Remember back when you were trying out IntelliJ on stream? Was that your final review of it? Oh yeah, you know what? I haven't used it at all. One of the main reasons I wanted to use it was I thought it would make my workflow of this look at my error message and then just use VM. I was like, that's kind of, this seems like an amateur way to do it. And I figured that IntelliJ I'd use it and it would have like incremental compiling. I think there might be a way to do that, but I Googled a bit and they're like, we have to restructure the project and stuff, but I structured it the way I did for a reason. But so I am using it now still. There are cases like for debugging. If I have to if I get some kind of a bug and I really want to know, I want to break point on something specific and then trigger that and then go in and inspect the state. For that, I found it's very, very it's kind of indispensable. But other than that, I actually haven't been using it as much lately. Kind of went back to old habits. Elixir is really nice. I think you'd love it if you deal lots with concurrency. I had a friend who was really into OCaml and function languages. Had a PhD from Japan. Struggled a lot to find employment. That skill set, I'm not sure if he's still alive. Yeah, that's rough, getting a PhD in this kind of stuff and then struggling to find employment. I know a bunch of people too who are also super qualified and they in this job market. That's the issue with if you get a PhD in something really specific, there's just not as many opportunities. I mean, one thing in Haskell, it felt weird. Like time didn't exist. Weirdly, Rust kind of requires you to know functional programming. Interesting. What is in your Vim mod list? I do not use any Vim plugins at all. When I first started using Vim, I started I installed all kinds of plugins and stuff, and then I quickly realized it's so much work to configure them, and to like when you go on different computers and stuff, you got to drag your config around and stuff. And I decided I would just learn how to use the like default tools really well instead of learning how to use the plugins. This is back in early 2010s. Might be rougher now. Just dropped off the map. That sounds tragic. Now is that going to create 5,000 exceptions everywhere else? 94. Actually, why does that return an exception? TY, Mr. Robert, I know the struggle. I'm unemployed by myself right now, wishing for higher goals. Yeah, I wish there was a thing I could do. I mentioned in some of my previous videos about like building community and stuff. It'd be nice to if there was something I could do to like just make a hangout club or something for like unemployed PhDs who know OCaml and have written research papers who are looking for work, and then like get them together, even just to like have some other people in the same boat as you share some strategies, and like if one person knows of if one person gets a job using a specific strategy or site or Indeed.com or through LinkedIn or whatever. I haven't been doing like the resume grind at all. I've been all in on the traditional stuff I've been doing, the social media and consulting work. But I know that the like LinkedIn is becoming such a toxic wasteland now. The number of it's becoming easier to apply to jobs, which means that you have to apply to more of them to get anything. Wood Floor Alchemist says we're back. Excellent. Feel like an IRC channel is the natural place to congregate, or a Discord, as they say. Yeah, actually, I mean, on that topic, I guess for any of the 15 people who are here, I have so I have an official Discord. If you go into go to my channel, in the list of like links on my channel, there's a link to like Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and then it's also a link to a Discord. And if you click the link, it takes you to a broken thing. I think it says like expired or something, but that's a lie, because if you delete the last character off of the Discord link, I think it's a Z. If you delete that Z, it'll go through to the actual Discord. and you can read. I made some rules and stuff there. So technically, my official Discord is locked, but I have a reference to the other one that people actually use and stuff. Because there's, I don't really want to. I don't really want to have to like, if I allowed like off-topic discussions in my own Discord, I'd have to like moderate it more heavily. But I think if other people want to have their own, and then there's already been like people fighting about like someone doesn't like what someone else posted or something. So I think this way is this is a decent way to do it. I think you'd make bank making an in-depth Linux course or anything low level. Maybe, I don't know. There's like Udemy courses and stuff that people can sell. And the problem is like to make anything worthwhile, I'd also have to like take time to like make the course material and stuff. In my opinion, I think it makes sense to focus on the like whatever has the most growth, the most reach, the most like branding, which is like put the video on YouTube and then just like ask people for money when I need it, or ask try to solicit, try to persuade people into memberships and stuff like that. And that way, if people are poor and they can't afford the content, then they can just watch the video for free. Not aware of any fights in the Discord server. Yeah, it's through messages that I've received and people DM me and stuff, and yeah, when you're, I mean, it's interesting how many, when your stuff is on the internet, you get lots of random weird messages and stuff, and all right, maybe that'll be closer to what I want. Yeah, I mean, I think a part of it is also like it's like it's symbolic if I specifically say like I do not like this is not the official in the off topic section, there's if I go through every post there's a couple of posts where I'm like, I really wouldn't post that myself, and if it was like a Discord with my name, my brand on it, I'd probably be like, maybe we shouldn't have that here, we should moderate or something. But then again, part of having a place where people can talk is not like censoring people and stuff all the time. Like I don't, number one, that's not people don't like to be, people don't like someone wagging their finger at them and telling them like, you can't do this, and that's like too political and stuff all the time. That's annoying. But also, like, I don't even care. I have very important Linux commands and extremely important block mining simulation games to write. I don't have time to like, scrutinize something. And then it's also, if people end up like fighting about something and someone's like, this person said this mean thing to me, we need to ban them or something. I don't want I don't, if they're adults, or even if they're, if they're kids, probably shouldn't be there, but people can just figure it out on their own. And really love your videos. Do you recommend watching your live streams? I mean, what are you actually doing right now? I would say I do not recommend watching my live stream. They're pretty boring, to be honest. I talk to chat and I try to do some work on the game. And I've been doing them because I get a few super chats and a couple of members and stuff. And it's also just part of it is also just an experiment to see, like, just collect some data on, how many views they get and whatnot, and whether I can actually be productive on stream. After the Tremble game, you can make a Discord game. And now I'll probably stick with Terminal. I mean, technically, if it's mono-spaced font, then you could pipe it into the Discord. People don't like to be disciplined too much. So far, we're pretty chill. It's pretty common in small communities. Once you become big, then you attract all sorts of bad people. Yeah, and I think it makes sense to kind of future-proof the model. So this way, I can kind of. And there's also, I mean, it's also a very. I would say that the type of person that is in the Discord, I approve of and am compatible with, like, a much broader type of person than just what is in the Discord chat. And if it's honestly, I would like to see even more people who are, like, do business stuff, or maybe like art, or because like once the conversation and discussion is around a certain type of topic or has a certain type of personality, then new people will come in and look at it and be like, this is really not for me, and then they'll leave. So if there's a critical mass of people that want to start their own channel or something, I think for now it makes sense just to have one Discord. So if people ask me to have, if someone asks me, let's start a new one, I'll probably just tell them, like, go to the existing one that they're using and, like, try to find, I don't know, recruit some people who are in the existing one. But I mean, there's almost no discussion there anyway now, so it's not a huge deal. I mean, it's also Discord is like, it's public. It's totally public and open, so there can be all sorts of, like, bots and stuff. And I'm actually surprised there hasn't been more, like, cryptocurrency scam stuff or, like, malware. Like, I'm sure there's bots that come in and post, like, who knows what kind of, like, illegal content. And Brad and me only, occasionally someone else. Yeah, when there was a surge of new people, of new members from, I guess, approximately 6 months ago or so, there was a bit more activity, but I think some of those people they were kind of active for a bit and then forgot about it. What are you building? I'm building this. It's a terminal-based video game where you simulate the process of mining blocks. I think your trick of invalid URL is working. Yeah, I mean, I haven't. I've only mentioned. Like no one will even find it unless they know about to remove the Z. And I've only mentioned that like a couple times. I guess I'm not super big on promoting it, but I guess if other people want to mention it, it's that's, you know, so if people have asked like this is the official one if they're looking for it, and then I'm also okay if people just want to go directly to the unofficial one, just as long as it's clear that that's the unofficial Discord. So if there's some cryptocurrency scam thing that pops up there, it's not my cryptocurrency scam. All right, that works. Is this your job or just a hobby? For the last, so that's a good question. For the last, I just finished my year-end taxes, and this year is the first year where the majority of my revenue has come from YouTube and social media in general. So technically, I guess you could say social media is now the majority revenue thing for me. I think I did bring in still like $5,000 from in this current tax year from consulting, but I think long term that's going to go to zero. Maybe you're nesting too deep. That code is going to be all deleted in a minute. I'm just refactoring. And I guess even if I was just it's a compare to function, so it has to be nested. Oh, it's annoying that everything is the exception on it. Where does that come from? Oh, that's where it comes from. It's because if it's a zero length vector, then it'll throw an exception. This thing could be implicit by placing each if else after the other, since the first two blocks both return. Let's see. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Could just do that, you're saying? I guess you could. Personally, I don't like to write code like that. My experience has taught me this is more likely to be error prone. I like to have my if else, and then I like to always have the else branch used as like a guarantee that I've considered that case. I want to work on this one project, but I have zero motivation to work on it. I do have enough enthusiasm to stream for 74 consecutive days. I need the secret sauce. People ask about that. I would say I have too much motivation. I thought about this all day long. I would say my habit of like the more I work on it, the more I want to work more on it. Just because it kind of gets up to the top of my mind. I guess another thing is you say I want to work on this one project. I guess if it's like a project that you actually want, if it's something you're intrinsically motivated for, that's different from like work that you don't want to do. I would say the pattern I've had of break things down into like slices. Like another thing I've been doing is there's a ton of just like random cleaning, like random stuff I hadn't cleaned in my apartment in like a couple of years. Like there's like dust accumulating on like the wall in the kitchen and stuff, and there's like some dust bunnies in the corner, and it's kind of really accumulating. So I've for the last like 2 weeks, I have mandated that I do like 5 minutes of cleaning each day, and I bought some cleaning supplies and stuff like that. And so I found if you just give yourself some like even if it's like a microscopic amount of work, like do 30 seconds of work, or do like one tiny incremental thing. Like one day my task that counted towards it was just like on my way to the dollar store, I made sure to buy the cleaning product that I need, so I didn't have to make a special trip to go there. And then I'll use like, I'll do like this like cleaning thing. I take out one of the cleaning pads, and then do like one get like one cleaning pad full of like dust bunnies, and then clean that. So it ends up being like 5 minutes of work, and then just as long as you do a bit of that every day, and then I find after a few days of doing that, the activation energy to get started is much lower, just because you've made progress. It's like familiar, you know where the stuff is. And that's not only for cleaning, but also for like working on this. Like I find it difficult to get back into projects when I haven't worked on them in a while. But then once I get into them, it's really easy to stay. Like I've already done 74 days. So clearly day 75 is going to be very similar to the previous 74 days. Good with cybersecurity? It depends. It's a very broad topic. I suppose getting started is difficult. Yeah, I guess I would say, I want to work on this one. What's the project about? What does it involve? Like what kind of packages and languages and stuff does it use? Assuming it's a programming project. This is horrible code, but once I get this migrated, I'll improve this. Trying to learn Zig and make a Zig library. I would say break it down. I would say even like one subtask would be the task of breaking it down into tasks. So that it could be enumerate. So I guess if it's a Zig, then you have to learn. Like right now, if I was going to do that, the first thing I need to do is like figure out how do I get the Zig compiler installed, and like how do I compile Hello World in Zig. That's one task, and then the next would be like, I guess it might just be as easy as like sudo apt-get install something, but what if it's not? So some of those things, like even when you break it down into tasks, sometimes you get like there's a bit of excitement to know you might have an easy one, but maybe it's hard. So maybe you just do sudo apt-get install Zig utils, whatever, and then you write hello world, and then you can complete this task in 30 seconds. So that's step one. Or it might be you have to install some stupid package. You have to install it from like a tar file, and then you try to do make, and it says like cannot find libcrypto.so5 or something like that, and then but your task is still like compile hello world. So it might be easy, it might be hard, but if you just assign that, I think that's a manageable task. Do especially for an experienced programmer. Just do hello world, so that could be like the today task. And then to make the Zig library, the next could be just like work on setting up like a make file or build empty build process to just create the make file that builds. Find out what is the command to create the library for Zig, and then create like a hello world library function call, and then and then successfully call it from your hello world. So you have your hello world 1 application call your hello world 2 in the library, and then that you can, for however much time you want to work on it. Day 1 is just install, do the first one of those. Day 2 is the second one, and then on day 3, by then it starts to seem like really easy. So if you want to do a library, the next is like what's in the library. Now you have maybe just write out the function signatures, the function interface for whatever you're doing the next day. And then you could just keep breaking it down like that. So and if you're when I do stuff like that, I just say like a minimum of work on it for 5 minutes, and often I'll say like I'm going to work on it for 5 minutes. And like I said, with installing it, you might think, oh, I'll crank this out in 30 seconds, and then you try to do it, but it actually takes you 2 hours because there's some stupid thing you didn't think about. I feel like I've noticed we have the same number of people in here every night, but it's always different names. Chat. Yeah, I think it's throttled. I think it's like the algorithm is very. I think it's building a profile of like who will watch the stream. So there's other people that it knows that it could recommend the stream to, but it's like holding back on it for some unknown trigger, when it'll just be like, all right, you're good enough now. You can have 1,000 people watching you. I am new. What do you do? I am working on developing a terminal-based video game. If I get it compiled in a sec here, line 131, I'll show you what it looks like. I think it's also probably measuring retention and stuff. So it'll recommend people in here, and then it sees, it measures like who comes back of their own volition. So like who comes here, watches for a while, then goes away, and then explicitly comes back to my channel and clicks on the live stream to watch it, versus like who's coming through recommendations. Professional water cooler says bubble. Yeah, someone asked about what I'm working on. This here is the thing that I'm working on. It's a terminal-based video game that you play in the Linux terminal. and you simulate the process of mining blocks. Bro, how to make a CPU? Oh, you've come to the right place. I have a channel, I have a video specifically on that topic where I describe in detail how to make your own CPUs. No longer do you need to buy them. You can just make your own. No problem. All right. All right, it does not crash. That is good. Can I download the game and try it? It is there's a link on GitHub. There should be a link in the description. No worries. See you around, Robert. Hope the game progresses well. See you later. Thanks for the kind words. All right, it does not crash. And the help menu works. All right, need to think about the next step of this refactoring. I think the next thing that I was going to do was maybe move that change screen rate regions into this class. I don't need it to be outside. Isn't there a one-line sudo command that deletes all the files on your PC? Yep, there sure is. Do you want to run that command? I don't advise it. Yep, that's the command right there. But it's not a good idea to run it. You'll delete all your files. Was your backup strategy to use a tool like Resic, and do you use cron jobs? I have both like online and offline backups. So I feel like I have some drives that I sync to periodically that are powered off, and then also some cron jobs. Some of it's rsync, some of it's just a bunch of git pushes. Making anything that could change the world. A block mining game that could change the world. Alright, if this compiles, this will be a significant change that may totally break everything. Interesting. Does the help menu work? Nice. No crashes. Using Ubuntu? Yes. Right, that's more consolidation. Game Dev Chad, it says, good evening, champ. How's it going? All right, that's another delicate change that may totally break everything. Nice. Does not break everything. That's noticeably laggier. Well, I guess once I complete this refactoring arc, then hopefully it should still be faster in the end. Let me think, what should I test? How long have you been on the CLI game for? It's becoming a while now. It's hard to quantify because I did a release of it like a week ago, and the prior release was back in November of 2024, and between November of 2024 and 74 days ago, I had not worked on it at all. All right, that moves some of those other straggling variables, so moves them into the layer. And then I think the next step is going to involve so what I should really be doing I think the mask should belong to the layer. This is one of the things I kind of intuitively knew what I wanted, but I had to like write it out first, and then like now I have working code. It's really easy to take working code and collapse it into something better. So I guess the mask should go into the layer class. And then when I either initialize the mask or change the layer, it will automatically add a changed region. And that will resolve a huge class of bugs that I spend a lot of time resolving. And then some of these like layer merging operations and stuff will automatically do that, and then I don't have to keep track of them. And then this, I think, will actually be so this will just be like a layer merge down operation or something. And then once those are all consolidated, then I'm probably going to add some unit tests for them and make them work a bit better. Is it going to be multiplayer? Actually, once I finish, there's still some issues with the display and the user interface. Once I resolve those issues, I think the next major feature that I'm going to add is probably multiplayer, but that's going to take a while. There's a whole bunch of design flaws and issues that I need to fix before I can get that done. But we'll see. I'll keep working on this. I'll keep up this series for a while and see how far I get, and see how much interest there is in this game concept, and how much revenue I can generate. But other than that, I think I'll probably quit while I'm ahead tonight. Those were significant and sensitive changes. I was fully prepared to like see a whole bunch of bugs up here. that would take like hours and hours and hours to debug. But I did not see any, which is great. So anyway, I'll probably leave it there for tonight. And tomorrow night, we'll be back for day 75. All right, see you guys then.